colleagues Michael Beaumont over in New Zealand, who made an observation in a webinar I presented in a couple of days ago about my attire and the fact that it was very reminiscent of Miami Vice. So I thought I would do a very quick video. Sorry, that vehicle you can just see on the screen is a livery I'm currently working on. But what I wanted to do was quickly show you my Miami Vice Ferrari, because there was a comment that I was looking very much like one of the Miami Vice actors with my jacket and shirt. So I thought I would show that, in fact, I've also got the car, to go along with it in the game that I did a livery on, I don't know, a couple of weeks back now. So here it is, and if you pay close attention to the car as it approaches, you will see that it is the Ferrari Testarossa, just as Don Johnson had in the show. And you'll see on the windscreen there that there is actually a Miami Vice decal. Hopefully we'll get a good shot of it in a second. Here it comes, or maybe not. I can't zoom in because this is a movie playing, so I don't have any control over the cameras as such, but hopefully one of these shots in the next few seconds will reveal, or you can see it just there, will actually reveal the Miami Vice decal. It's always fun relying on the video to give you the right picture, because they're random videos that play in no set order. And there's also a high propensity for the headlights to be turned on, which also makes it hard to see the screen, or the windscreen I should say. Hopefully, any second now, this will be revealed, because I have to jump off here, because this morning, well actually late last night, I discovered I have no hot water, and just tested the water about 20 minutes ago, and it's still not on. I've gone out and checked the tank again. I'm waiting for it to do another thing in another 5 minutes. I'll have to check the water again, but I suspect something's gone amiss and I have no hot water, so I'll need to organise something to resolve that. So hopefully in a minute I can, there you go, I think that's the best one. No, it's still not good enough for you to really make out that it says Miami Vice. If all else fails, I'll go into the livery editor in 10 seconds. Obviously it's not the original Miami Vice paint scheme, because for those of you that know the show will know that it was a very pristine white all over, but unfortunately for me, I struggled to leave a car alone when it comes to a livery, and plain white didn't look that exciting, so I decided to be a bit inventive and put the additional decals on the car. This might be our best chance to see it. There we go, look at that, Miami Vice on the windscreen. Alright, let's jump out of there and jump into the livery editor. I apologise if you get any blue screens in this quick process, but I'm just going to quickly jump into the livery editor, and with that we'll be able to have a closer examination of the car. Okay, now we can see it better. By the way, if you do want to see the webinar is about my work life, and it's about cloud computing, and the video or the recording of that webinar will be available soon, and probably will promote it via the company that I work for on LinkedIn. So if any of you can make the connection between myself on YouTube, Facebook or LinkedIn, you'll be able to watch that webinar if you're involved in cloud computing in Australia or New Zealand. So, just for the benefit of absolute confirmation, there it is. So I'm starting to think my my colleague Michael might have a sixth sense about certain things, because there is the Miami Vice Ferrari, but with Gran Turismo, I guess, edition or style attached. While I'm in here, if I can just quickly do it, just show that other car that I'm working on creating the livery for. Let's have to jump out of here and back into the garage, which is a couple of clicks and a little bit of time. And, I'll just quickly talk about that. I'll go back into the livery mode, so it'll be quicker than doing the scapes photos. This particular livery, which I started last night, I was going to use one of my Gran Turismo Sport liveries, which you can see just 4 of them there. I actually had about 14 for this car, but you can see 4 of them there. But rather than do that, one of my mates on the game, Benjo, has been doing some beautiful liveries in what we call a stealth style, which is effectively this style that you're seeing. You know, very subtle colouring with, you know, either black with grey decals or grey with black decals. And so I've started doing a stealth livery on this car, which is a Lamborghini Huracan, and it's a Group 4 race car. And so I've started doing my style. I am going to have, I guess, a bit of a departure from the traditional stealth design, because I have got a bit of some bright or luminous red there. That's probably about an hour and a half's work so far, and mainly that's because I had to get these lines to join. It's actually 5 or 6 lines there, and then I'm following the same line with a couple of other lines below it to accent, and then I'm doing the shadows of the Lamborghini emblem underneath. So there's a little bit of work there. I'm still umming and ahhing about the rest of the roof, but anyway, just to give you a bit of a look, you can see on the other side there's nothing except the red lines that I've done. So still quite a bit of work to do. Let me get out of there. May as well, while I'm in here, show the guys a few other recent liveries. I did a little bit of a preview of my work for my team and our illustrious cloud team at the company that I work for, and gave them a bit of an insight into this stuff, and hopefully it was worth their while. There seemed to be a little bit of interest, so I'm just going to quickly grab some of the cars that I've done since then, seeing as all I'm doing is waiting around for my water heater to hopefully start to work. Where to first? Okay, let's go to this one. This used to be my favourite car in the whole game, in Gran Turismo Sport, because it is still perhaps the best ever driver's car created. Apart from the fact that it held the top speed of any production car for something like 14 years before the Bugatti Veyron came out. But it's not so much that. It's not about it being previously the world's fastest car. And of course I've never driven one. I got really close to having a ride in one when I used to run track days down in Sydney. A gentleman by the name of Dean Wills, who was former CEO and chairman of Coca-Cola, was lucky enough to have bought one of these cars, and we had a connection with him, and he was going to bring them out along with a couple of other cars to one of the charity track days we were running. And of course I was going to be lucky enough to sit in it, because this car is a 3-seater for those of you who don't know it at all, but I'll be able to show you that. But as a driver's car, it is amazing from every report you read. So I don't know if you can see there, but that is a seat, which is, there you go, you can see the seat belt just there. And it's sat back behind the driver, who sits right in the middle of the car, which is one of the very unique things about it, which is probably also why it's regarded as the world's best ever driving car, because you're in the best position to drive the car for a start, but you can also see the seatbelt just there. So I've done this with what's called a carbon paint. You might be able to see the ribs in the carbon thread, because that's how carbon fibre panels, etc. are constructed. So I didn't want to take from that beautiful look. Maybe if I change the view to outdoor, it might help too. You can see obviously it's much darker like carbon typically is in an outdoor picture. I just wanted to try and highlight, so I did a bit of a link there between the lettering of the McLaren logo and the, if you like, the deliberate fin design there to help airflow around the car because of the ridiculously high speed. I think this car's top speed from memory was 389 or 391 kilometers an hour, which has, as I said, held the record for a long time. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight that. So hopefully that gives you a good view of it. Again, trying to just highlight the lines and the contours of the car more than anything. I have done, again, I had a couple of these cars in the other games. I had done a couple of liveries for them as well. So that's that one. I'll try to get through each car in less time. But I just wanted to share a couple of things about that car. Okay, let's go this way. This livery, sorry, I am going to talk a bit about this livery. This livery I made last night or the night before. I think the night before, yeah. No, I finished it last night. And this livery was a bit of a joke. And I've never done a livery like this before. And I can hear everybody saying, sure you haven't, but I haven't. And what actually prompted me to do it, and I can't show you, but in the game chat, a couple of friends that I talk to on a very regular basis, almost every night, one of the guys showed me one of his friends' designs where they'd used a real picture of a tiger as part of a livery, using a graphics program on a computer, which you can do, and then you upload that image into the game, and then you can use it. And he did one of a tiger, and was showing me how he faded into the paintwork. And so I said, yeah, I can do that, but I couldn't find a picture of a tiger. So I thought, all right, I'll find a picture of a person, and I just typed girl. And all these images of girls came up, and this one's obviously not a real life picture, but it was the closest to a real life one I could find, although this one is probably more real. But again, the shading as it's been uploaded as a graphic obviously looks less like a real photo and more like a computer graphic generated. But I was a bit captivated by this one. I think the reasons for that are fairly obvious. And so as a bit of a joke, I thought I'd make a tongue-in-cheek livery, pardon the pun again, called Booty Racing. So I ended up creating this livery, which I haven't uploaded and shared yet. So it's a very blokey livery. And then as another joke, I I came up with my own fantasy brand of brake pads called Cheeky Pads, and she's become the, if you like, the pin-up girl for Cheeky Pads. So, yeah, bit of a funny one. But again, the thing is the fading. If you can see here with the background colours, the fading of a decal shape into the natural paint of the car. And there's particular decals that you use that have that fade capability. I won't show you now in the essence of time, but I still haven't put a number plate on that yet, so actually it's not ready to be uploaded, but that's the livery. I also did a little bit of the thing around the tail lights using the Nissan logo itself, because I like to do that. I think it makes the tail lights stand out a bit on the GTRs. Normally I'd also call this a Nismo with a number on it, but I haven't done that either, so... Okay, just a couple more to show. And hopefully the next ones will be very quick. Because I need to go and check my water and jump onto my computer and check some stuff in preparation for a meeting coming up soon. What's next? I want to show... Well, these are a bit out of order because I've been using them. Okay, I'm going to show this car because this was only made the other day as well. This is a De Tomaso, which is a brand that I don't think is currently manufacturing vehicles. But back in the 60s, 70s, and I even think in the early 80s, they were still making these cars. And perhaps here in Australia, people may, I say may, have been familiar or had a recollection of them through a doctor who ended up becoming a celebrity because of his wealth and because he had been a leader in, if you like, a new style of model of medical centres, effectively, which spawned out all over Australia. His name was Jeffrey Edelston. He passed away a couple of years ago now. But, you know, became quite wealthy because he'd built all these new style of medical centres and married a girl much younger than him and lived a very lavish and public lifestyle. One of the things that he did is he bought his wife a De Tomaso car. Anyway, this is an older car, this was built in 1969. It's called a Mangusto. And you know, very sort of classic Italian looking mid-engined supercar at the time, powered by a nice I think a Ford V8 at the time, but don't quote me on that. And so I just sort of made up my own little style of decal. Here you can see that little logo in the middle is the De Tomaso logo, but I've sort of created that I don't know what you'd call it, lighthouse appearing decal. You know, I didn't want to take away from the nice clean lines of the car, so I've just done a little bit of accent work and put on some nice big wheels, which I think look okay with this car. I can't change the number plate on this car, unfortunately. So that's that car. Let's move on. I apologise that it does take about 20 to 40 seconds to jump between cars. Interestingly, in Gran Turismo 7, Sport, the previous game, it didn't take this long to change. So, whilst we got some if you like, improvements in the livery design tool in Gran Turismo 7, it has made it a little bit more time consuming to jump between cars to do something like I'm doing right now. The next car that I wanted to grab is this one. I made this on the weekend from memory, and as you'll see, it may appear like it's a very easy design, but it actually took me nearly 8 hours to create. And I'll explain the reason why, which is primarily because of the line work itself, and with the picture of the car coming up, that'll be much easier to explain. So hopefully in a few seconds it will be on screen and I can do that. So as you'll see, what I've tried to do is, again, this is a 1966 GT40. In fact, it's the car that won Le Mans a couple of times. It's the one that's featured in the movie Ford versus Ferrari. You know, if you know that movie, great. If you don't, if you're into motoring, good movie to go and watch. But anyway, so I've tried to stick to a, if you like, a period respective livery design. So I've gone with a pretty neutral colour, being that matte grey looking colour, although it is a bit glossy. Tried to keep with period rims on the car, and then the line work as well. I've tried to, by the way, that's all customised. It might look like it's the standard decal you get on a GT40, but all of that, and I can do something to show that, is all custom made. So these are all the decals that I've had to create just on the body and position to get to that. So 286 decals. So that's clicking on individual decals on one side. So if you halve it, say it's 190. Sorry, about 140 something, I should say. 148. To do the left side, and then, as I've previously said, I duplicate to the other side once I've done the bonnet, the roof, and the rear end. If this would move faster, that would be handy. That's better. But when I get down to the bottom, or near the bottom, we should see the little crosshairs. Oh, the little crosshairs come down to, yeah, there you go. So it'll be flashing now. You can see that's me creating that. And then if I get to these, I mean, here's an example, just to create that effect of the GT40, I've had to do that many decals to create that shadow effect, and then plonk the yellow GT40, which is that particular yellow decal because it's flashing, on top. So quite a lot of work, and all the work really is in the lines. Getting these lines to line up and to be accurate. Quite a bit of work in that. Might look like it's one decal, but I can assure you each of that yellow lines is quite a lot of decals, and the grey in between the yellow and the thick stripe and the thin stripe. I've also had to do that. Then I've had to do the edging in here for that effect. And again on the roof, getting that all right. That effect at the back, same sort of thing. Getting the lines to line up. So a fair bit of work involved to create that effect. To put it into a bit more realistic light. So that's what it looks like in daylight, if you like, and make it a bit more cloudy, if you like, not as bright. So that's the GT40. Yep, I didn't make any changes, so I can just close it. We'll go for 2 more because it has been a little bit of time. I think there's 2 more cars that I want to show. nice if I could do a search on cars cars with liveries in the order that I've created them, but unfortunately we don't have a search tool as such. So what else did I want to show that's recently created? This one's fairly recent. This is an integrale, or a delta integrale. Very famous race car built by Fiat back in the 70s, early mid 70s, early 80s, I think it was. Now, what's the year on that? It doesn't tell me. I can't remember. That's nice and revered all-wheel drive rally car. Sorry, I said Fiat, it's Lancia. My bad. Lancia Delta. Sorry. Apologies to the company. But yeah, it was very revered car. They had, if you like, two revered rally cars. The first one was the Lancia Stratos, which was a mid-engined two-seater. Very small car, but it was a very dynamic rally car. And this car. This is my own design. This is not a replica. I don't do many replicas for those who have joined my channel and are watching for the first time. 99% of the liveries that I do are what we call fantasy liveries, so they're just creations out of my head. Not much else to say about this car. I'll just pan around it a bit, let you have a good look. Put the wide body kit on this car, as they call it in the game, which flares the guards out a bit more, you can see. It does help the dynamics of the car when you're driving it too, so it is a handy feature that you can add. You have to use your credits to do it, but that's okay. Okay. I think I'll just put one more in because I can't recall all the liveries that I've made since I shared some of the liveries with my team members in a broadcast, a live broadcast that they watched. I didn't cover all of the cars that I've created in the game. I think I'm up to 60 cars in the game, which might sound a lot to some people, but it's actually hardly any in comparison to the number of cars I'd created in Gran Turismo Sport. Those two are Gran Turismo Sport liveries that I've copied across into this game, so I won't show those. Just looking at the ones that are most recently created. That's fairly recent, so I might show that one in a second. I'm just scanning through. Now I think there's really only that one. And there was one other that I saw that yeah, this one here. So I'll show those last two and that will do. This is an interesting car. It's actually a very what did I do then? My bad. Not concentrating. Sorry, my bad. They have a couple of, if you like, aftermarket real life car modifying companies, and this is a new one that they just released literally a couple of weeks back in the game, and it's a IROC Chevrolet, and but this car has been developed by a company called Roadster Shop, and I think this car is called the Roadster Shop Rampage. So if you went to, say, an aftermarket car show like SEMA, S-E-M-A, you would likely see this company showing some of their creations. And so they've released this into the game, much like the Nova made by CNC. And I apologise if I got that wrong. I think it's CNC, not CMC. I've got one there, I can show it in a minute. Not that I plan to do that, but yeah, they make these aftermarket, heavily modified cars, and as you can see, this is a heavily modified late 70s Chevrolet IROC. You can see it's had significantly flared guards applied to it to make the car wider, to give it a better, if you like, a better stance. It's effectively been turned into a race car. You can see by the riveted fiberglass screens, etc. on it. Extra, aerodynamics applied to it, and obviously it sits very low on the road. And I've just gone and created this livery using BBS, which is the wheels that I've chosen to use, BBS rims, in the matching colour of the paint that I've used. And you can see that what I've done is I've put a shadow BBS into the look of it, just to give it a bit of a different look. And then I've done some lighter blue highlights, and then on the roof I've done a little bit of a graphic out of a lightning strike and a blue moon, basically, just to give it a bit of a, if you like, a rampage, or spooky, maybe not spooky, I don't know, but kind of spooky feel. That took a little bit of work as well, getting the guards highlighted the way that I have. You can see the Rampage sign down the side there on the side skirt. Okay, and because I just mentioned the Nova, I will bring out the only Nova livery that I've got in Gran Turismo 7 at this stage. But in Gran Turismo Sport, I actually had 21, I think, individual Nova cars in my garage, each with their own livery. I was a bit of a fan of this car because it looks beautiful as a, if you like, a classic American muscle car. It had a ridiculously powerful engine that you could ramp all the way up to over 1,000 horsepower. And as a vehicle to do liveries on, I just love that you could try to create. You could either do, you could try and do a replica of a livery style at the time, or you could create your own fantasy style, which is what I did with this car. So one of the things that I am a bit annoyed about is that in the game, the car is actually painted silver, but as you're about to see in the game, as you view it, it kind of looks like it's more of a white than a silver, which is kind of frustrating for me. Anyway, let's go straight to the editor. I don't know if any of my actual liveries from Gran Turismo Sport are available here for me to copy. Oh, there are a few. So as I said, I've got 21 of them, but you can see there's 4 there from the previous game that I had created. And I could go and buy 4 more Novas, which I probably will do, and apply those liveries here in the game. But see, you can see there clearly it's silver, but when I go into the livery editor mode, even in the white background, see, it looks white. If I go to outdoor mode, it looks more silver, but it's still, only when I do that can you clearly see that the paint is silver, not white. So again, this is, you know, I've tried to keep it in that classic kind of period. This took a bit of time because you can see there that there's a lot of fairly intricate work around the edging there to get that effect of the red with the black and then the silver to highlight it. That is completely fake. That's just me with using decals to create that vent look, but it does look kind of real until I zoom right in, and you can see that it isn't, that it's fake. And then the bonnet again, those scoops are fake. If I move around, you'll see that they're flush. You can see there. There is no scoop, but it's just the effect that I've created using the decal work, which again was quite tricky to do because you can see there's a grey line and a black line, so I've had to and I can see that it's not even showing properly there, the line. That's interesting. I'm going to put that down to the display editor error. But I've tried to create that effect of there being those 2 bonnet scoops. CHC, Chris, stands for Chris something Customs, and I'm sorry that I can't think of the name. Maybe when I go out of it, it'll show it up the top. And I'm very sorry for the creator of this beautiful car. It's a beautiful piece of work that he created in restoring this car. So yeah, I love them. I think they're a beautiful looking car. If you like classic muscle cars, that grille design is mine. You can see there that I've created that. It doesn't have that normally, just has a plain grille, but I wanted to give it a bit of a unique look, like I try to do with all the cars I do liveries on. Now, does it tell me up the top? No, it doesn't. It just says CHC. Okay. Alright, I think I'm done. I'll just do one more scan of the garage, just to make sure I haven't missed any. And again, apologies for the delays in jumping between the various, if you like, sections of the game to show you the cars. Just going to scan line by line. Actually, I'm going to preview this car. Reason for it is I used to actually own one of these, and so it has a little bit of a special place in my heart. It was also the car that I owned when my daughter, Amy, no, actually it wasn't. I bought it just after she was born. But anyway, it was my first ever BMW. I've owned 5 now, I think. 4, sorry. 4. Well, actually, it's not true either. I've owned 3. And the 4th one was actually a company car. Anyway, just thought I'd show you what you can do to an all-road car without going, well, I don't think I've gone over the top with it, but oh, you can see there's another one that I made. see the number plate says RP Bandit. RP stands for Roleplay, again, which is a created game. You know, us Gran Turismo players are inventive, and we create these different types of games that you can play within the game. And one of them is roleplay. And what roleplay is effectively you turn up with a road car and you drive around the track as if you're actually driving on the road. And so there's police cars, because you can create police cars in the game using some of the safety cars. And so, you know, the police cars drive around and make sure you're obeying the law. So they set speed limits, let you know whether it's you drive to the left of the road or the right of the road, etc. You're supposed to use your indicators, etc., etc. And the police patrol, if you like, they patrol. And if you offend, they follow you with the purpose of trying to pull you over and issue you with a ticket. And you have the option to be compliant and pull over, or you have the option to, I guess, run. And then if you choose to run, the police have to chase you. And the official rules of roleplay, for those out there that have played roleplay in the game but don't actually know what the real rules are, the true rules are that when you do choose to run, which is the purpose of this game, because after all, these are modified cars that go very fast. So the idea of the game is that you run and the police chase you, so you have a police chase. Maybe they should call it police chase instead of roleplay. That might help people get what the idea of the game is. But if you choose to run, the police are supposed to chase you and what we call tag your car. So make contact with your car with their car. So effectively they've caught you. And if they do that, that's when you're supposed to pull over, and that's when they're supposed to issue you with the ticket or the warning. And usually you get 3 warnings, and then after that, depending on if you're following official rules or not, the official rules would be that you would have to sit in the pits for a period of time, maybe 2 minutes or 3 minutes, or you would actually have to go to the pit and change cars. So you rejoin with a different car and then you start over again, either obeying the law or disobeying the law. And that is the true way in which roleplay is played. And so this is a road car, as you can see, and another rule is it has to have a number plate, so therefore it has to be effectively a registered car or road car, so that eliminates people bringing race cars into the roleplay. So that's the car in that mode, but if I turn it into outdoor mode, you'll really see the beautiful metal fleck in the paint that makes this paint so sparkling. But yeah, I had a what's called a Laguna Seca Blue BMW M3 in this model E46. Had it only for 2 years, sadly. My ex-wife made me get rid of it and get a sedan because it was a bit awkward getting the baby in and out of the back seat because it's a 2-door, but also because she didn't like to drive it and didn't like the fact that everywhere we went we got a lot of attention because of I think the colour, as much as the type of car that it was. You can see there it's only got 2 exhausts. It used to have 4 in the standard road going version, but modified exhaust changes it to 2. Again, I've just sort of customized things like the rings around the decals, the side skirt, and the M3 stuff, but I've tried to make it look like it could very well still be a standard road car that people drive around. Alright, so there you go, a bit of roleplay education as well along with the video. I'll wrap it up there. I could spend hours going through the 60 odd cars that I have created. I will do that. I was very bad in GT Sport for not doing that, but I will wrap it up now because I need to go and check my water heater, see if it works, and if not, I need to do something about it. Michael, I hope you enjoyed the very first part. I won't feel bad if you stop after watching the bit about the Ferrari, but for everybody else, hope you enjoy it. Please subscribe to my channel, and otherwise, have a great day, and be COVID safe, and take care of each other. Bye for now. trying to end this broadcast, but it keeps bringing up the photo icon. Why? There we go. Cheapers. Bye for now.